Small business war stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes. Hey, lovers of small businesses and good stories in general. Welcome, episode 78 of Small Business War Stories. I'm your host, Pablo Fuentes, and today I stopped in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I sat down with Derrick Montoya. And I'll tell you, walking into Derrick's shop, 3D Kutz Barber Shop, was a surreal experience. It feels like you're 50% walking into a museum of mixed martial arts and boxing and the fight game, and 50% like you're walking into the octagon itself. It just has this magic to it. And Derrick is an amazing story of resilience, where he overcame a lot of difficulties in his life, and through a lot of belief and hard work has really turned things around for himself. And he has big dreams about what he wants to do, about being the barber to a lot of fight stars. And actually a lot of I got referred to Derrick actually from the folks at Jackson Wink MMA, who were in a prior episode of the podcast, and they sent me over because a lot of the folks there go get their haircut and go get their hair trimmed at 3D Kutz Barber Shop. And Derrick has memorabilia all over the shop, but really his story is amazing and fascinating. I don't want to steal his thunder. He overcame a lot of difficulty, and you should definitely check it out. This episode is a part of the Soul of America tour, and as such, it is brought to you by FreshBooks. FreshBooks is a small business accounting and bookkeeping software tool. And what it allows you to do is you can basically save a ton of time by not having to worry about all the things that have to do with running all of your financials in the background. FreshBooks does that for you, and you can focus on what you do best with your business. So go ahead and check it out. FreshBooks. Go to freshbooks.com/warstories. And when they ask you how you heard about them, say you heard about them on Small Business War Stories, and everybody wins. And like every episode of Small Business War Stories, this one is also brought to you by Proven. Proven.com is a company I started. We help small businesses hire. We help them hire better. We have great systems that allow you to organize all of your hiring. Check it out. It's a great tool at proven.com. And we also have a fantastic blog at blog.proven.com, chock full of resources for your small business, for you to run things better. We'd love to hear from you. If you have ideas for the podcast or for the blog, please do reach out. Go ahead and email podcast@proven.com, and I will personally read it. Without further ado, I do want to get into today's episode with Derrick Montoya and his story of resilience and overcoming adversity at 3D Kutz Barber Shop in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we are live here in beautiful Albuquerque, New Mexico. And this afternoon, I am here sitting down with Derrick Montoya, and you are the founder.
Yes.
Of 3D Kutz Barber Shop.
I'm a triplet. There's Derrick, Damien, Dominic. I'm Derrick. The founder was Damien. The younger brother. We're only a minute apart, but he started the shop back in 2003. Okay. By himself, and then my other brother Dominic came along, and then I went through barber school about a year after Damien graduated. So. Okay,
cool. But are they still here in the shop, or is it just you?
They've actually franchised off, opened their own 3D Kutz Barber Shop, and I ended up continuing on with this barber shop. Okay. This is solely my barber shop.
Solely your barber shop, but you also have other folks here. There are about 4 or 5 other folks here that work out of here.
We have 8 stations in the barber shop right now. We have 7 stations full. So.
Okay. Wow, very cool. And how do you find new barbers? How do you find new people?
It's all really word of mouth. I do a little bit of advertisement, but all these guys pretty much, they've all just come in and applied at the right time.
Okay, very cool. Now, your barbershop is not just any barbershop. It's very, very unique. So I got referred here by the folks at Jackson Wink at the MMA gym. And they're a world-class training facility here in Albuquerque.
Right.
And you get a lot of folks from Jackson Wink, famous MMA fighters who come here and get their haircut, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and when I walked in here, there are literally, I don't know, probably close to 100, definitely dozens of high profile posters of fights that have taken place probably in the last 15 years, roughly.
Yes, we've actually Diego Sanchez is a very famous UFC fighter. He's the first Ultimate Fighter from the UFC Ultimate Fighter show.
Yeah.
He came walking in here back in about 2003, 2004, right after he won the show. We started becoming really good friends.
Okay.
Over the years, we're actually best friends now, and through him, he's invited a lot of the high-profile UFC fighters, like Rashad Evans has been in here, George St. Pierre. So it just kind of shows you how far back we go, you know.
Yeah.
From
And you
back
have
in the
John
days.
Jones too, so and folks like that. And I just got my haircut here in a station with surrounded by all this amazing memorabilia and signatures on your wall.
It's truly a dream come true. This shop right here is like, from being in the back, sleeping in a sleeping bag, just to pay taxes that a lot of people don't know. Going to the gym, showering. So
tell me more about that. So what were the beginnings of this? Like what did that look like?
You know what? In the beginnings, it was really challenging. I felt like I could relate to a fighter because I fought for this shop myself, with no help, just a dream. And this is something that I've always dreamed of being. I've dreamed of being a barber since I was in high school. Me and my brothers, we started cutting each other's hair since we were in high school. We'd find people that really were low self-esteem people, and we'd pierce their ears, cut their hair. Give them a haircut, dress them a little bit, and then go out and try to get them a girl,
Yeah.
And it was something in the blood that we just pretty much enjoyed doing.
I mean, I can tell there's something about you. You are definitely very proud. It's like an artist. It's artistry for you, right?
It really
you can
is.
see the way you approach it is really interesting. I could tell by the way you cut my hair and my beard.
It really is. It's for me, it's a passion. It's something that I absolutely love doing. When I'm behind my chair, I feel like I'm right where I need to be, So it's not even about the money. It's more about doing something that I love doing day in and day out. When I'm behind my chair, it's crazy. Even on my days off, I've been cutting hair 12 years. Even on my days off, I come in here just to cut one or two hairs, from a walk-in. I usually do booked up appointments,
Yeah, I got lucky. They called over from Jackson Wink, and you were able to...
I actually got you in on my lunch break. I told Dr. Bo when he told me, I get referred to good people like you, and I was like, hey, bro, perfect timing. Send him on over.
Wow, I appreciate you doing that.
It definitely, man. It was my honor. It's meant to be,
That's great, man. So tell me a little bit more. How long ago did the shop start?
We started back in 2003.
Okay, so about 14 years ago.
So about 14 years ago.
Okay. What was it in the beginning? Like what? Tell me. Walk me through. What did this place feel like in the very beginning?
In the beginning, it was completely empty. We had one tagging on the wall. It was really ghetto. We didn't have a lot of money. Put the shop. This shop was already a barber shop, so we pretty much, like people said, on crates. It was just a vision and a dream. It was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And just over the years, little by little, the first poster we had was this King of the Cage poster with Diego. That's why I have it up in the front up here. Every wall was just bare. We just had that one poster, and then just little by little, fighters started coming in here. Hey, give us a poster. Sign it, put it up. Another fighter come in. Hey, do you mind getting us a poster for the shop? Oh yeah, putting it up, signing it, putting it up. So
that's awesome.
It's
you have Alistair Overeem right there, and Diego Brandao. A lot of folks that train at Jackson Wink.
Kyle Noakes. We've had.
You said you have BJ Penn somewhere.
BJ Penn's been in here.
Yeah.
A lot. It's truly a real dream come true.
Yeah.
Cub Swanson.
This is almost like a museum.
It's crazy. It's people come in here and they look around, and this is all I know. This is the only shop I've been at, and when people come in here and they look around, they're like, damn, this shop. You could tell it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah. Now, can you think of a time when things got really difficult and dark?
You know what? There was a lot of dark times, that I've had. I lived a dysfunctional life for a really long time. Started hanging out with the wrong crowd, and pretty much about 7 years ago, I literally hit rock bottom. And
what happened?
You know what? I started partying a lot. Started alcohol and drugs. Got involved with my life. And it was a really dark place. I completely remember hitting rock bottom. I went to my mailbox. There was this old man that was sitting outside in his truck, and he actually started praying. And he prayed to God, and he told God, God, let me open up a door so I could invite this guy to church. I was completely lost. As he was out there praying, I went to the mailbox and I opened up my mailbox and I had like 8 overdrawn checks, and I don't have help from nobody, it was completely like I looked up, and at that point I was like, crazy thoughts going through my head, like I'm like kind of being fake a little bit, not letting everybody know what's going on with my personal life. I had a real bad pill addiction at that time. And I had opened my mailbox, and I came in here really discouraged, and he sat in my chair, and his name is Dallas. He asked me, "Hey, are you having a good day today?" And I was like, "No, sir, I'm not." And he looked at me, and that was his door open, and he's like, "Would you like to go to church with me on Sunday?" This was like on a Thursday. I was so dark at the time. I looked at him, and I pretty much told him I don't have time for God, and I seen a tear drop down his face, and like I respect older people, and I was a little kind of saddened, to see that disappointment in him, and I thought about it, and I was like, "You know what, sir?" I was like, "Call me on Saturday, and I'll go to church with you on Sunday."
Okay.
So Saturday, I'm literally at my apartment. My girlfriend had just left me. I just had a newborn son. She took everything. I was literally in a dump hole. I was drinking a 40, smoking a joint by myself, and it was a sunset. I remember it clearly, and I was all overlooking Albuquerque, and I even forgot that the guy invited me to go to church, and he ends up calling me out of the blue as I'm drinking my 40, and I'm smoking, and I looked at the phone and I didn't answer it, and then I looked out and I looked at the horizon and the sunset, and I was like, there has to be a higher power, if this is all life is worth living for, then I don't want it, and it was weird. I put my joint down, didn't even finish my drink, and called him up. I went to church, and it was the beginning of a great thing. It's a true testimony in this barbershop. I kept fighting, pushing forward every day, just working hard.
Yeah.
Called the IRS. It came to the point where I literally had to sleep in the back of the barbershop for quite a few months, just to pay off. I owed the IRS about $8,000 in taxes that I had to pay back.
So you basically weren't paying rent, and in order for you to pay back your taxes, you were sleeping at the barbershop.
Yes, sir. So I was just here.
How long ago was that?
You know what? This was about 6.5, 7 years ago.
Okay, so fairly recent.
Yeah, it was fairly recent.
So it's after you had already started the shop.
But it was definitely the biggest blessing of my life was hitting rock bottom, because it really made me define myself. It made me figure out who's who, who's real. It kind of separated me from the world and different people, and got back on the right track, and it's a true dream. Amazing. There's times I go to the back. Cub Swanson had came in here. He did a podcast. I didn't even know what he was recording for, and about an hour later we get tagged on the 3D Kutz Barber Shop Facebook page, and I look at it and I get the chills all over my body, and I literally run out to the back, and I'm like crying out in tears, and I'm like, you know what, God, if I just want to thank you. I don't ever want to go through all the adversities and everything I went through, just to be where I'm at, but just thank you. And what a dream come true.
Yeah.
You just work through it. You
have
dream
a great
it.
vibe here.
So many people have told me to give up. Just don't do it. Like you're hurting yourself, and I didn't listen to nobody. I just played it all in my mind. I didn't give up, and you see where we're at today.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. And you are, it must feel good to also be a positive influence in the community, right?
It's amazing. There's a lot of kids that I actually came up with the Kutz for Kids about 5 years ago. It's cutting hair for underprivileged kids here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and now I teamed up with the APD. We're doing over 5,000 kids now. All from a thought, my idea.
Wow! Tell me more about that. How does that work?
It's called Kutz for Kids. It's for underprivileged kids. The first year we did it small. We teamed up with APD. APD got involved with it, and it was at the academy the first year. It's gone so big now. We do it down at the state fairgrounds, and I say, there's over 5,000 kids.
And it's all organized by you.
It's all organized. Now the deputy chief of police at the time, he moved to Texas, and I guess now they're doing it out there in Texas.
Really?
Too,
where about? I live in Austin. Where
do you really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what part of Texas, but I know he moved out there, and he told me he was doing the Kutz for Kids out there as well. So.
That's cool. How do you see yourself as somebody who, now that you've gone through so much hardship, you said you had a difficult childhood growing up and then got involved with maybe the wrong, people and substances and things like that, and you have found a way to now make a positive difference in the community. Do you find that you can now mentor other people who are going through similar things?
It's amazing. I do it all the time. There's actually a kid that just got out of jail. He spent 2 years in jail and contacted me even just yesterday. That's where that we're saying this. And he came in here yesterday. I like helping people out. So I hooked him up on a haircut, and now he wants to be a barber. And this guy's so admired by me. He's like, Derrick, even when I was locked up, I thought about you a lot of times, and seeing how far you go, and just to be a light to somebody, and like I tell him, hey bro, like don't give up, no matter what people say, you could be on the darkest times, and when everything's against you and everybody's like putting you down and there's no hope, just believe in yourself. you know. So it's amazing. I mean, there's several like kids that especially live up here in Albuquerque. It's a dysfunctional place, you know. There's a lot of drugs that come through here, and to be a light to somebody is a true purpose, and let them know like don't hang out with the wrong people, you know. Like you don't have to live that life.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at, and I truly believe in myself, and I truly believe that if I didn't change my life or surrender my life to God, I would be dead or in jail. So it's revelation, you know.
But it's also been difficult. So there's a lot of positive things that came out of it, but it's also been difficult because you talk to your brothers less than you used to, right?
Oh, it's so sad. It completely is.
That's what you mentioned when we were.
You know, me and my brothers, we did have a fallout. They did start hanging out with the wrong crowd and didn't want to change. And it truly, drugs ruin families. It ruins lives. It ruins relationships. You know, even with me and them, it's completely separated us completely apart.
That's got to be painful.
It's completely painful. First, it's embarrassing, you know, and then you just get numb.
Triplets. I mean, you guys are identical triplets.
And,
right?
and we're close. We're all we had growing up. Like I say, we grew up in a 2-bedroom camper trailer, you know, with nothing. All we had was each other, the love, and the heartbreak from drugs ruining their lives is something that you know I could relate to, you know, as far as not even having a real relationship with, especially your two twin brothers, you know, your triplets and your blood, and you just don't get along, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
do
kind of
you
sad.
See a way forward from that? How do you?
You know what? I go back to my spiritual walk, really, and unless they truly surrender and give their lives to God and surrender, then there's no rekindling the relationship. It does divide families, you know. And my guard's just up because my guard's just up because, you know, I'm not going to go back to that dysfunctional lifestyle.
You got to be careful because
I'm not going to do it.
You don't want to slip back into that.
I've been through a lot. Even I had a fallout. This was just this March, you know. Last March, I was facing a three felony account. I had a fallout with the barber that was actually selling drugs in the shop. This is everything you got to go through to live your dream. You know, you got to fight for your dream sometimes.
So tell me more about that.
Well, I ended up I had to get rid of this guy because he was selling drugs out of the shop. You know, so we had a complete fallout. This guy ends up, you know, meeting me at a house party. Ends up walking out swinging on me. So, you know, I had to defend myself. I ended up breaking his arm, and he presses charges on me. So I'm going through courts in the midst of it. I go to jail. I get out. I open up my Bible. I'm like, what am I going through? The first verse I read is Psalms 37:17. It says, the righteous man will shatter the wicked man's arm. And from that point on, I knew God was in on it, you know. And I went through a two-year battle case going through this in and out and facing 8 years in prison. My faith overcame me. There's this amazing man. His name's Jason Bowles, and you should go interview him too. He took my case for no charge. Completely amazing man. He's one of the highest criminal lawyers here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Not to brag or nothing, but completely took my case, and we went through the court systems. 2 days, every charge was dropped. So it was a challenging 2 years, you know, to go through that on top of everything else I've been through. I feel like God just completely built me so strong, you know. And every day I get up and people say, you know, it's nice when you get at the top. No, every day you're gonna climb that mountain, you know. As soon as I get up, I take a challenge to myself. I get up, I go to the gym, but
you're in great shape.
Before that, man, I literally the challenge is in the mind, you know. It's challenging in the mind. You get up, you look up and you say, you know what, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna give it my all, you know.
Adversity causes some people to break and others to break records, right?
That's right, bro. And I like using negatives into positives, you know, and I feel like it's kind of ran off of the business, you know. And I mean, it's truly an amazing dream come true. You never give up on your hope, you know. Even when you're hopeless, just keep looking up. There's always going to be that light at the end of the tunnel, you know.
Cool. So the business has been going fairly well recently, right? You get a reputation, and you got a lot of people. I mean, I drove across town to come here. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I'm really glad I did. I mean, it's
really
a really
is.
It's got there's something about it. I mean, there's the fight posters, but then there's something about it's got a real sense of community. It's got to be really impactful for you to be a positive beacon in like a you know, in the community and have this presence here, right? And what's your vision? What do you want to do this going forward?
You know, my true vision is to be an official barber of the UFC. You know, I have visions. My visions are bigger than just here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like one of my biggest visions would be to have like a 3D Kutz, UFC 3D Kutz Barber Shop, like at the MGM Grand.
Wow.
In Vegas, like
That'd be amazing.
I think outside of the box, one of my biggest things that's been in my heart.
Let me think. There's gotta be okay. Yeah. Okay. Keep
Is,
going.
is even for now, and I go to I don't train. I'm not an MMA fighter. My true passion is in barbering and cutting hair, and there's still days when I'm free, I go down to the gym and I vision and I dream, and even just at Jackson's gym, would be amazing just to open up a 3D Kutz there, because if you're going to open up a 3D Kutz at Jackson's gyms, you have fighters from China, you have fighters from Russia, you have fighters from Poland, you have fighters from Brazil. So once you start tapping into that, you're going worldwide, and for me and my vision, it's out here in Albuquerque, it's a lot of small mentality, there's people think just Albuquerque, and me, for my vision is being worldwide, being a barber that is truly cutting guys from all over the world, and being established and getting known from people from all over the world.
Okay, I mean, we'll try to spread your message, but you gotta promise me that when you blow up, you'll still cut my beard.
Oh, you know what, man?
Bestest beard I've ever looked.
If I blow up, you're VIP. I'm flying to you, bro, for sure. Yes, definitely.
That's
yes,
cool,
sir.
man. That's cool. What would you say? I mean, we've talked about so many like important lessons, but what would you say for somebody who's thinking about starting something or maybe going through a dark time in their life? You talked about your faith, but what's been, like, from a business perspective, like the number one lesson that you have?
You know what? The number one lesson, if you're gonna have a business and really want something in a business, is first of all, you gotta definitely love what you do.
Yeah.
That's the first thing, is find something that you love to do and go after it, no matter what. There's so much big things here in the world. People are worried about what's going on in China or in, I don't know, there's just so much awful stuff going on. Who cares about that? Find what you love doing and chase that dream and go after that one thing, and you'll make it a lot further than anything else, if you just have that passion and that drive and love what you do.
That's great.
It's a true dream. It's truly, I look back and I'm like, all those hard times, all the hurdles and the arrows getting thrown at you and all, like, the bad stuff, after you go through it all and the dust settles, after the dust settles is the peace and joy that comes from within, and it's an amazing feeling, when you finally get to that point.
That's awesome. What are the things that you're specifically doing right now to manifest this vision that you have of becoming? So are you, what are they, things you're doing?
You know what, for me, truly right now, it's really taking care of my mind, taking care of my health, taking care of my priorities, my kids. Like I backtracked everything. I used to chase this false dream, and this false hope. But in the meantime of chasing that, I neglected my family. I went through even divorces. I went through a divorce you're gonna have to risk a lot of stuff, if you want to live your dream. You're gonna go through separations. You're gonna not see your kids. You're gonna sacrifice a lot. There's times I'm at home and it's 7:00 and I'm literally deadbeat tired, and like Alistair Overeem will call me, and he'll be like, "Hey, can you come to my apartment and cut my hair?" I get there and it's like him and his 3 coaches, so I'm there cutting hair till 11:00 at night, like literally deadbeat tired. There's even been a night where I've had my son and had to find a babysitter. Like, he don't know what I go through just to get there and do it. But it's like months later, here comes the UFC and they're filming here at the shop with Alistair Overeem, and then you think back, you know what, man, that night was worth it. It truly was worth it.
That's great. That's great. Very cool. How do you find your customers? Do you use social media a lot? Is it referrals? I mean, because to be honest with you, I don't think from the outside you can quite imagine what's in here, right? So it's like you probably, like, foot traffic, it's probably not as much as people who know you, right?
I used to be old-fashioned and just liked everything the old-fashioned way. So now I did hire a social media guy. His name's Dylan Bowles, and since I've hired him, he's really made the shop mainstream through the social media industry, and definitely it's helped out the shop a lot.
So what do you guys do on that? Instagram, Facebook?
You know what? Yeah, we do Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Really is what he's doing for me. So.
Okay. That's awesome. So he's kind of a consultant that helps you.
Yeah, he can completely. There's always going to be the behind scenes. You know, if you're going to be the front man, I've noticed in business, you just cannot do it all yourself. You know, you got to have the people behind you, like your bookkeeper. You know what I mean? Like now I got me the social media guy. You know, I'm just trying to build up a team of people around me. And then throughout the years, you know, I've met guys like Ricky that does the Jacksons series. You know, he always advertises me, puts me on his cages. So.
That's great.
I mean, I'm definitely getting my name out.
That's great. That's great. So you're basically another big lesson then.
And definitely the number one advertisement, which is amazing, is the UFC fighters. You know, when they come in here. Yeah. You know, I don't ever ask them to do posts, but it's amazing. Like when you get a tag in a post and you see like. Yeah. Like
I'll tag you on the Small Business War Stories account, which is not nearly as big as the UFC. So that's cool. Great. So where can people find you? What's your address here if people want to come visit your shop? And what are your social media handles?
If you ever come to Albuquerque, New Mexico, we're up on 1331 Wantabo. You know, we're up in the Heights. You can find us on 3D Kutz Barber Shop on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Okay. And of course, look me up, Derrick Montoya, Derrick Barber Montoya 3D. You know, check me out. Come see some of my haircuts.
Derrick, true honor to sit down with you and listen to your story. I really, really appreciate it. And you are a true artist.
Hey, and you're a true blessing.
Appreciate it.
I do appreciate you. Always. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Small Business War Stories. If you enjoy the show, share it with a friend, or you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or on our blog at blog.proven.com. If you have an idea for us, we'd love to hear it. Please email us at podcast@proven.com. See you next time. Small Business War Stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes.